Today, a metropolis of fountains and jazz, of smoky barbecue and a skyline straddling two states. A city known for its unwavering heart and its central place in the American story. But rewind to its beginnings, and this was contested ground. A strategic bluff overlooking the confluence of two mighty rivers, where fortunes were built on fur, steel, and the relentless westward push of a nation. Through this AI-enhanced journey, weaving together historical maps, archival footage, and architectural surveys, we will witness Kansas City transform from a muddy frontier trading post into the sprawling, cultured capital of the American heartland. Subscribe to join us as we resurrect more historical cities, and let us know in the comments which metropolis you'd like to see reimagined next. Act I, the French Fur and the American Gate, 1820s-1850s. Our story begins not with jazz or beef, but with commerce and confluence. In 1821, French fur trader François Chaudeau established a trading post on the south bank of the Missouri River, near where the Kansas or Kaw River flows into it. This was not a city, but an outpost, a strategic node in a vast network of trails and traplines. The geography was destiny. The river provided transportation, the bluff offered a defensive position, and the location was the natural jumping-off point for journeys into the Great Plains and the Southwest. The real catalyst arrived with the doctrine of manifest destiny. In 1838, a group of investors, including John Calvin McCoy, platted the town of Kansas on the river bluffs. Their vision was of a gateway. Settlers, goods, and dreams heading west on the Santa Fe, Oregon, and California trails all funneled through this point. From above, the early settlement was a rough grid of dirt streets sloping down to a bustling, muddy landing. Warehouses bulged with goods, wagon yards echoed with the shouts of teamsters, and the air was thick with the promise of departure. This was a city born not from gold or ideology, but from logistics, the essential supply depot for a continent on the move. Act II, railroads and the stockyard empire, 1860s-1880s, the pivot from gateway to industrial powerhouse arrived on rails. After the Civil War, the Hannibal Bridge, completed in 1869, became the first permanent railroad bridge across the Missouri River south of its mouth. This was a masterstroke. Kansas City, not its rival Leavenworth, became the dominant rail center, connecting eastern markets with western resources. Tracks spiderwebbed out from the riverfront, and with them came explosive growth. The next logical step was provisioning. If you could bring livestock in and ship processed meat out, you would dominate the center of the map. Enter the Kansas City stockyards, incorporated in 1871. By the 1880s, they were second only to Chicago. Aerial views would show a sprawling, pungent city within a city, miles of pens, towering brick packing plants like Armour and Swift, and a constant flow of cattle and hogs from the western ranges. The Cowton identity was forged here, in the steam and din of the yards, employing thousands and creating immense wealth. The West was raised on the plains, but its value was realized in Kansas City. Act III, the Bourbon-soaked crossroads and the Pendergast machine, 1890s-1930s, with industry came influence, and with influence often corruption. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw Kansas City become a wide-open town. Its status as a transportation hub made it a natural center for vice, with a notorious red light district and a powerful thirst fed by dozens of breweries. This set the stage for one of America's most potent political machines. Tom Pendergast, Boss Tom, rose to power in the 1920s. From his anonymous office at 1908 Main Street, he controlled everything: votes, contracts, police, and the flow of illegal alcohol during Prohibition. But his machine had a paradoxical legacy. While corrupt and brutal, it also got things built. Pendergast-backed politicians pushed for massive civic projects. The County Club Plaza, the nation's first suburban shopping district designed for the automobile, the Liberty Memorial, and countless roads, sewers, and public buildings. The machine provided jobs during the Depression and created the physical infrastructure of a modern city, all while lining its pockets and ensuring Kansas City remained, in the words of a journalist, the town that says why not. Act IV, the birthplace of cool, 1920s-1930s, amidst the stockyard stench and political graft, a different kind of American revolution was brewing in the African-American neighborhood of 18th and Vine. Segregated but culturally incandescent, this district became the cradle of a new musical language. Out of the ragtime traditions and the blues came a harder, driving, rhythmically complex sound: Kansas City jazz. Fueled by Pendergast's lax enforcement, nightclubs like the Reno Club ran all night. The scene flourished. Bandleaders like Benny Moten and later, the legendary Charlie Bird Parker developed a style defined by swinging head arrangements, extended soloing, and endless competitive jam sessions. The city was a conservatory of the streets. This was where a teenage Parker honed his craft and where Count Basie's orchestra found its definitive swing. The sound was joyous, resilient, and deeply sophisticated, a cultural achievement that placed a Midwestern meatpacking town at the absolute forefront of American art. Act V, City of Fountains and Boulevards, 1900s-1940s, concurrent with this cultural explosion was a deliberate campaign to beautify the city born of commerce. The City of Fountains' identity was no accident. Inspired by civic leaders like August Mayer and George Kessler, Kansas City embarked on a monumental city beautiful movement. The extensive park and boulevard system, designed by Kessler, wove green spaces and grand, tree-lined avenues throughout the urban fabric, consciously emulating European elegance. This vision extended to philanthropy and architecture. The Nelson Atkins Museum of Art, funded by newspaper and real estate fortunes, opened its neoclassical doors in 1933. Downtown, the Power and Light Building, 1931, and the City Hall, 1937, soared in sleek Art Deco glory, symbols of modern ambition. The most stunning civic gesture was the Liberty Memorial, completed in 1926, whose massive tower and haunting Memorial Court became one of the nation's most powerful tributes to World War I veterans. This drive for beauty softened the city's rough edges, creating a unique urban landscape where pastoral serenity met metropolitan ambition. Act VI, Suburban Flight and a Downtown Crisis, 1950s-1970s. The post-war American dream, however, pulled at the city's core. Like so many urban centers, Kansas City was gutted by suburbanization and the interstate highway system. White flight, facilitated by new roads, drained population and capital to sprawling suburbs in Johnson County, Kansas. Aerial views from the 1970s would reveal a startling contrast. A booming, verdant ring of suburbs surrounding a stagnant, hollowing out downtown. The crowning blow was a series of disastrous urban renewal projects. In the 1970s, a third of downtown, including much of the historic Garment District, was razed to make way for a failed enclosed retail mall called the Citadel and vast, empty parking lots. The city that had built so thoughtfully now tore at its own heart, leaving a ghostly core of vacant lots and underused skyscrapers, a stark monument to mid-century planning folly. Act VII, the Renaissance, barbecue, sports, and a reclaimed core 1980s present, the fight back began with what Kansas City did best, culture, sports, and grassroots tenacity. Two symbols led the charge. First, the culinary tradition that had simmered in pitmasters' shacks for decades. Kansas City barbecue, with its sweet, spicy, tomato-based sauce and slow smoked meats, became a national obsession, a point of fierce local pride and a destination in itself. Second, sports became a unifying civic religion. The construction of the Truman Sports Complex with its twin stadiums in the 1970s set a standard. The 1980s saw the NFL's Chiefs and MLB's Royals, World Series champions in 1985, capture the region's heart. This confidence fueled a slow but determined downtown renaissance. In the 1990s, the city made the audacious decision to vacate its failing 1970s mall and restore the magnificent 1931 Union Station to its glory, a project completed in 1999. The 21st century accelerated the change. The Power and Light District, a new entertainment zone, filled a hole left by urban renewal. The streetcar line began connecting downtown districts. The Crossroads Arts District blossomed in renovated warehouses. Most symbolically, the Kaufman Center for the Performing Arts opened in 2011, its gleaming, dual-shelled structure a bold declaration of the city's renewed cultural aspirations, sitting proudly on a hill overlooking the city it helped revive. Epilogue, the symphony of contrasts from a fur trading post to a stockyard empire, from a Pendergast-run vice hub to the birthplace of bebop, from a city of beautiful boulevards to a case study in urban decay, and finally, to a model of Heartland revival. Kansas City's story is a uniquely American symphony of contrasts. It is a city built on practicalities, river, rail, and cattle, that persistently nurtured world-changing art. It is a place where political corruption built beautiful infrastructure, and where suburban flight was eventually answered by a determined urban homecoming. Its identity today is a layered fusion. The tang of barbecue smoke, the cool of a jazz riff, the splash of a fountain in a shaded square, and the roar of a chief's crowded arrowhead. It is no longer just a gateway west, but a destination in itself, a place that learned, through booms and busts, that its true strength lies not in being a pass-through, but in being a heart. A heart that beats to a swinging rhythm, pumps with industrial grit, and welcomes with a generosity as wide as the plains that surround it. The city at the confluence has found its flow.